started. It's 8 a.m. Glad to see everybody. Hi. Good morning. Looks like we have most of our regulars here this morning, so I won't give you a brief on how this works. We'll just start right in. I think I made you go last, or first last time, so I'll go first this time. I passed out our gross receipts information, the most current, and wanted to highlight that this last month in March, we got an extra $1 million in our gross receipts. And basically, I think I might have talked about this last time, I don't remember, but back the year before at the very bottom, you can see we had a negative 92,000. We had a loss of about 730,000, and we weren't sure why. I had gone at one time to Tax and Rev and was able to see some documents, but they were not helpful. So the gentleman said I'd have to request more documents and come back. So I was in the process of requesting more documents, or to be able to see more documents, and two of the staff did a conference call with me, and they had told me that they didn't think I needed to come see what the issue was, that we were going to get a lot of that money back. And so then a couple of weeks later, our finance director said, well, we have all this money in the bank because it gets direct deposited. So I said, that's that gross receipts that we lost. So we actually got back more than we lost, I'm looking at, because we lost about 730,000. We got back probably $1 million extra. So although easy come, easy go, sometimes it seems like, I'm not sure what's going on over there, but they acted like it was a statewide issue. But we did know when we lost that Milan and the county had also had a shortfall the same month we did. And so anyway, it's back for now. We're very happy because we had kind of cut back a lot this last year thinking we had lost some revenue. And so it's glad to see it back in there. That money will be put towards roads. So that's our big priority, is working on roads. And I'll ask you some input here in a minute. Our police chief retired, and so we put together a search committee of individuals, and we posted mainly locally. And the last round for a police chief, I had put it on a program called Indeed, and we got applicants from across the country. I wasn't impressed with the applicants we got. A lot of them seemed like they didn't stay any one place very long, and that is something I look for when I'm hiring staff. I look at their history, and I don't want somebody that switches jobs every 2 years. We need some continuity. And so this time we just put the ad out, Albuquerque Gallup grants. All of the applicants were local. We interviewed everybody that put in their application. We got 6. One got another job during the time we were posting and pulled his application. So we interviewed 5 individuals. We had a great committee. We utilized a couple of former law enforcement individuals. We used our former sheriff, Manuel Lujan, Bill Johnson, who is currently a detective, but Bill had been a police chief for many years in a couple of different departments. And then we had some of our staff that looked at the applicants. We selected Steve Chavez, who is currently a detective with the County Sheriff Department, and we're real excited. Steve's got a lot of ideas, and he gives us the feel that he's in this to serve the community, and he's really about how can we make our community a better place. So I think he'll be real receptive to your feedback as citizens. He talked a lot about putting together a citizen advisory group to get feedback. So I think we may see that coming down the pike. But please reach out to him if you have some ideas. He's going to be. I think we have one more week and then he'll be starting. Although he's jumped in feet first, and he's been at City Hall every day and asking questions and already working on things. So we may see some positive changes in our department. Our senior citizen director just resigned about a week or so ago, and she has about 30 years with the city, so she was ready to do do retirement, and she's got some a grandson that she's helping take care of, and feels like she's needed there. So the posting for that ended this last week, and we have, I believe, 6 applicants that we're going to start interviewing. We partner with Future Foundation's Family Center to do the Youth Conservation Corps program. And so they've got young high school, college-age students hired for the summer. A couple of things, they're doing several things, but a couple of things they're doing for the city is they're going to be planting trees at the cemetery. So in our parks, we've got some really nice old trees that we need to start planting some newer ones, so that as the older ones reach their age limit, then we'll have some new ones coming up. So they're going to be doing that. They're also going to be putting some bike racks downtown, and we haven't selected the locations yet, but they'll be putting some bike racks. And that's been a request. I know Chris Baca had requested that back a ways, and so we thought that'd be a nice touch to downtown. We are in the process of getting quotes to repair 2 sewer lines. So last year we did about 4 different sewer water lines in the city, and that's something historically we've just been patching. So we've been putting money towards actually taking out and putting in new lines. The 2 location, there's a line that's in really bad shape that runs under 5th Street, under the bridge there. And then we've got a really bad line on it would be the east end of High Street. So we'll be doing a block or 2 of sewer line and possibly water line in that area, because I believe the sewer and water are right close to each other in that area. We could do both while we have it torn up. We're preparing to do some paving some roads. So I kind of wanted a little feedback. Mr. Baker's not here today, but I wanted your ideas on, if we're going to pave roads, what roads pop into your head as the worst? I know they're all pretty bad, but is there some that you think are worse than others or utilized more than others that we should focus on?
Down Norte is pretty bad.
Okay.
Up along for a mile or 2.
Okay.
Question, I know DOT, whenever they're doing stuff, they do the raisin counters, you know, little track counter things.
Yes.
Does the city have those or access to those things? Because just because the road is bad doesn't mean it deserves attention, because it may not have the traffic that really justifies spending the money.
We don't have those, but I think we can borrow them. I believe the county at one time has a counter that they had said we could borrow.
Of course, everybody wants their road fixed, but
Right.
if only 3 people a day go across it, it's a bad road. It's not worth my money.
Yes.
It might be a good idea, Laura, that we could look into asking DOT, requesting that if they have any information.
Okay.
History information,
Any
because
counts?
they utilize it quite a bit.
Okay. Yes, Eric?
The councilman should probably pick a road in each of their districts, because you get some people that say, oh, well, this district gets this much, and we don't get nothing, so, I mean, all roads in every district is bad. Probably a fair game is to pick one in each.
One in each district, and that's kind of the perspective we were looking at. I know each of them has given me a road. Yes.
I'd be 800 block of Jackson.
Okay.
Is Roosevelt a given? Will that be done, or?
Yes, Roosevelt, actually it's a DOT, and we were told about 4 months ago that they were going to do an overlay. So I'll follow up on that. And we did get more money. We got about $1.5 million for First Street, that we will start working on the rest of First Street, and we got about $500,000 for Second. So First and Second are roads that the DOT frequently gives us money, so we're going to utilize their funds for those roads. Yes, Cindy?
Do you, when you're doing the roads, are you doing the infrastructure infrastructure underneath, the pipes and the stuff?
Yes.
Because see, if you put a new road in and then something breaks and you gotta tear it up.
Right,
So
so,
maybe even the ones that you're fixing, you know, the ones that you've got planned to fix, maybe those should be the ones paved.
right,
So it can be
right.
done, and then go to the next one, because you need to tear up a brand new road to fix something that breaks.
You're right.
When they moved the bus for the schools, Stevens is one of those streets where the buses use that street, and it's getting worse every day. So I would suggest that Stevens might be, you know, you've done Stevens on the east side, just continue that on so that those buses that are coming and going, we would have a less rutted road.
Okay,
The speed bumps are crazy there.
Ecolera is already taken care of.
right. Well, no, but I know that is on our radar. I know, that's why I was saying Mr. Baker's not here. He keeps bringing that up, so it's in bad shape, yes. Eric?
Can you still poke on the DOT to do the cracks on Lobo Canyon, they're getting worse and worse?
I know, you know, I'll keep pushing that. The gentleman I was working with left now, because there's a couple of things. We were working with him on the cracks, but also we've had a lot of complaints. People are crossing from the Good Samaritan over to Smith's, and there's no crosswalk, and so it's quite dangerous. Those are the two things that he was working with me on. So I think I got the name of the lady that's his replacement, so we'll mention that. It's a good road, and we need to preserve it.
The cracks have probably, the last year probably already opened up another inch and a half.
Yeah, you're right.
That's cancer.
Yeah, you're right. Any other feedback? No? Okay. Our Team 66 this last week, which consists of the Chamber, Main Street, the city, the county, economic development, we had a lunch with the managers of Walmart and Walgreens. And the purpose of that was to there are two biggest corporations, so the purpose was to try to reach out to them and develop that partnership and invite them to be a part of the chamber, invite them to be a part of our community. And so we had a really good response. There's a lady, Katrina, I think Matthews is the manager of Walmart, and she's actually commuting in from Albuquerque. Her partner is a manager at the Walmart on Coors, and so she commutes this way, but the manager for Walgreens is actually an individual who's lived in our community quite a long time. Trying to think of her name, Julie Rodriguez. And so we'll keep touching base with them and reaching out and trying to work with them so that we develop a partnership with our businesses and our government entities and our chamber. I'm sure all of you have probably noticed the native baskets along the road that Sacred Winds did, and I was very impressed with how those turned out. So I believe the next steps, they're going to be putting a couple more. I believe there will be 3 put at Fire and Ice, and then a few put on the west end of town at Friendship Park. The city will work with them. We are talking about putting historic markers similar to what we put at the caboose. So at the caboose we have a marker that talks about the history of railroad in Cibola County. And so we were thinking we could put that for the native baskets, because I know Linda Lovejoy was here the day they dedicated the baskets, and she was telling me the meaning behind all of the artwork on the basket, and it was quite impressive to hear all the meaning behind the symbols. So we thought it could be good to put those historic markers. The city will be sponsoring the fireworks again this year. The firework display will take place here at the golf course. So we will have this area open for people to come and sit on the grass. I believe the chamber is sponsoring a band for that evening from 7 to 9. So some flyers and information will be going out soon on that. Barbara asked me to give an update on the Legacy Trail. This past week we finished up the right-of-ways along the trail. Some property owners, there's 9 property owners, some offered to donate their land to the city. A few requested to be paid. So we bought certain portions of that. So now I believe we're ready for construction. And that should be happening within the next few months. So it'd be good to get that project underway. I've not heard an update on the Zuni Mountain Trail. I do know the county received, it might have been TAP funding as well, but they received a little over $500,000 to do a trailhead. And I know McKinley County's going first. They're working on theirs first, and then Cibola County will be next and be working on that trailhead with the Forest Service and other partners. So I will pass it on to Ms. Fletcher.
Well, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Hello. Wow, I'm still here. Yay. I wanted to mention the election. You know, the clerk does such a great job, and I was really proud of all of them. They work very, very hard. And there's always going to be issues, always things come up that, you know, that they did such a good job. I was really proud of them. They worked really hard. And we're going to be canvassing the votes at the special commission meeting on tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So I just wanted to say thank you to the clerk's office and everybody that works. Also, I see a winner that I haven't met. Nice to meet you.
I met you twice.
Twice? See? I've met so many people I don't even know, but congratulations. Yeah, you sit in the corner. Why? Anyway, I'm looking forward to this election. It's very interesting. I don't know whether, I didn't know who was winning or who was losing. I didn't know what was good or bad, but I do know that my husband did win the sheriff's position in Katrin, so I'm relieved at that. So we are going to have a special commission meeting on Friday. To do that, we have to, by law, we have on a certain amount of time to canvass the votes. So at 4 o'clock we'll be doing that. And I've also put in on the agenda a budget workshop. This will be a time, if anybody's interested, I would love them to turn up. We're going to focus on the general fund, and we're also going to focus on how important it is to utilize other funds the way we know how or we can't do them. So I'm going to try and break it down so we can all kind of discuss and see where we have been, where we're now, and where we want to be. So with the budget, with the actual figures. So please, if you're interested in any way, I want to invite anybody who'd like to listen and have some, you know, input and think about, you know, we're a large county, we have a lot of funds, but we need to learn how to utilize them the best way so we can build our general fund up again. So I'm looking forward to that. So if you're interested, please come along.
So you're saying that's Friday also? Right
Tomorrow, yeah, in the meeting, because by law, the commissioners cannot be together as a quorum without me posting it in 72 hours. So it's much better if we can get it in with a special meeting so we can consolidate.
So it's 4 o'clock?
4 o'clock, yes. I do have some good news. We did receive SRS funding this year, which was really good because SRS funding is Secure Rural Schools funding, and it's federal funding, and it's funding that we can utilize on our roads. And in the past, the general fund has been subsidizing the road fund, meaning that because we spend more on the road and we don't have enough revenue, we have to transfer more money from the general fund to the revenue so we're not in the red. So this year, I am really excited about the amount because we average usually about $18,000 a year only for Secure Rural School funding. This year we received $453,000. So, and that has a lot to do with different issues, i.e. Looking into the formula. I didn't think that was quite right, but it's working. It's to do with, the formula is to do with roads, federal roads, i.e. forest roads, how many miles we do we help the forest to maintain. So that's how the formula goes. We also have PILT that we are going to get that's for general fund expenses. That's going to be 1.6 million. So right now I need input. I have sent the preliminary budget to DFA, so that's that. But we now have time to discuss, have input. I'm going to allow the commission to look at all the requests in writing that I have received from the community so we can see what's best to be able to help and what we can and what we can't do. We're still very, very tight. And honestly, we're going to be tight for 2 to 3 years. So, but I am, like I said last time, I'm so proud of these departments. They have really stepped up, and I'm just really, really proud of them. The Sheriff's Department, you know, you've heard everything that, you know, we're not giving enough money to them and all that. We are now going to open 3 positions. We're going to take one thing at a time, because opening position, publishing it, it takes around 2 to 3 weeks just to even get that process going. So the sheriff does know that we will be opening a few of his positions that he really needs. So I'm excited about saying yes, go green light on that. So I wanted to talk about, how do I put this? I'm going to stick to the budget right now. So we have all these people that are interested, everyone, community. It makes a difference. Every single penny that we receive as a county is taxpayer money. So there are, sometimes I always say counties are set up to fail because of the way it's all structured. And unfortunately, we have to kind of not lose sight of where we want to go. So one of my goals is to keep on the same track. You know, prioritize, forecast, and keep, because it's really difficult when there's so many issues going on. It's so easy to go off, you know, and you end up in the middle of the field, and you're like, well, how did I get here? So I'm really trying hard to help the commission stay focused. We have an audit that we've, like I told you before, we submitted. We're having a little bit of issues with the release of the audit. My goal was to have an audit workshop first, and then the budget, because it would make sense to look at how we're responding to our findings, and then have the budget, right? Well, we're going to do it backwards, because I really don't have time. I have 3 weeks until the end of the fiscal year, and we're at a crunch time. I'm working on a daily basis right now with the auditor, state auditor. We are looking into how, if we're going to agree or if we want to fight a little bit about some of our findings. And unfortunately, I would love to say, these are these findings and I want to tell you. I'm not allowed to respond, or we can't talk about the findings until the state auditor has released the audit. So we have Michael Steinager there, and he is great. He's wonderful. We're working very closely together to get this done. So I'm really confident that we can get it fixed. We just need to keep pushing and figuring out exactly what we want and how we're going to go forward. There's going to come a time that we're going to have to decide, do we want to clean cut, you know, stop and start fresh and deal with the audit, or do we want to fight and get some of those findings off? So we look at those findings and we see how many material weaknesses and how long is it going to take, and is it worth the fight now, or do we keep that little card in the pocket until we need something in the future? So we are all weighing it out. Commissioners also are weighing it out. It's on a daily basis right now. So I just wanted to kind of give you a rundown of where I'm at there. I had the privilege to actually ask the questions of the hiring for the finance director yesterday. What I did is I actually got a committee, a scoring committee, and I was the one that was asking the questions, and the scoring committee would score the interviewee. Mike, when I do this, it's very important for people to realize that my score does not count unless it's a tie. So I had 4 other members, and they were hiring, they were listening to the answers. We had 3 great candidates, and they did all very well. But we've narrowed it down to 1, and I'm very excited that we're in the process of offering him the position. And I'm just going to give you a little, tidbit of information. But this gentleman actually works for DFA, and he's the analyst he's an analyst for the state. So he works with counties and municipalities and every single government entity. I have worked with him in the past. I'm really excited that he's taking this big leap from DFA to local government. It's a big thing, and I'm very excited about it. I think he's going to be a part of a really strong team. and everybody was in agreement that this person would really succeed here if we give him the opportunity. So that's a good thing. We're really busy. There's a lot of things that, like I said, there's a lot of open the cupboards and, I didn't know that happened. That's going on. So I'm trying to focus on audit, budget, forecast, and really looking at our expenditures. The county in the years, I'm talking a long time ago, we own property, we own buildings, we are not a realtor, we're a county. So we need to we're building up some data to see what do we want to sell, what do we want to keep, how can we consolidate large buildings that cost so much for just overheads and utilities that we would save if we just didn't use it. So what we're trying to do is see what's the best avenue with money, utilities, overheads, look at the forecast. We have 3 big buildings now. We have the lovely building that I'm in, but I get lost in it still. And then we have 515, the old building downtown, which was beautiful. And then we have where the detention center used to be. And they're 3 huge buildings, and they cost a lot of money. What we're trying to get together and say what's the best way we can utilize our funds, i.e. taxpayer money. You know, we cannot keep all these 3 buildings going without it being full in there. But we can't just give rooms out and keep paying for utilities. You know, we want to because that's what commissioners in our department, that's what we want to do. We want to say yes to all these lovely organizations that do such a great, they are such an asset to this county, but we have to weigh it out. You know, why are we giving certain people rooms for free? Why are we giving certain organizations more space than the others? And it comes down to anti-donation, which is a clause that we have to stick by. So we have to be consistent. The commission are going to have a very difficult time in the next couple of years to learn, and me too, of what we can do and what we can't do. We want to help everybody, but we can't. If we help one Mary Jo down the road for a room because she wants to do this great organization, I'm just imagining, you know, helping somebody, we have to say yes to everybody. So that's why we have that anti-donation clause in our statutes. We have to make sure that we are doing the best for the county and we're not giving something for free because we are utilizing taxpayer money. So saying that, I see so much positive moving forward. I'm excited to meet the new commission in January. I think I am asking for help. TRD will be coming. I see Jenna here and she's helping me, and we have requested tax and rev department to come on in to help us kind of clean some things up and make sure that everything is running smoothly so we can have a successful assessment, assessors and property tax, because it's a big deal. Every department does something for the county, and the assessors are a huge part of our property tax income coming in. They've actually assisted us from training, and now they're going to help us. They've contracted an employee for them that is going to be here for us, and we don't have to pay. So they are really on board and helping, and Jenna's been working, we're basically talking to them on a weekly basis right now, and they're turning up today. So I'm excited about that, because when we need help, don't ever be afraid of asking for help. There's resources out there, and this is a prime example of using them when we need it. So, okay, I can shut up now. Any questions?
Where is the budget workshop and what is the objective?
The objective is, the budget workshop is at the commission chambers during the special meeting, and it starts at 4. So it'll be the new building, all the way down the hallway in the chambers. The objective is basically to not exceed our budget, to use what we have as in to control our means, and find out, and really kind of give an eye-opener experience about what we can utilize it for, and what funds can we use for certain things, and how much money have we saved or used up on funds for this year. You know, they've made lots of very hard decisions the commission has. And I know you've seen it in the newspapers, you feel it, it's a big thing, and they have made some really difficult decisions. And there's always going to be two sides to what people believe in. But I'm going to tell you. Okay, so looking back at the detention center expenses, you remember when I was telling you about transferring money in from the general fund to actually save a fund? We were averaging transferring $2 million from the general fund to the detention center to keep it operating. Think about that. That's half their budget we've taken out of the general fund. For them to make that huge decision of closing a building, well, it's very difficult. We are saving money, and I'd like to address that more on Friday. So it was a very difficult decision, and really it was oh gosh, what are we going to do? We need to do it now. And they did make the decision, and I believe that it was the best decision for that. It's going to help us as a county. So there's a lot of other things that come in and out too, and how we're going to move forward, and how we're going to utilize Core Civic, how we're going to assist with the district court. There's a lot of things that come through with detention center. But right now the county has made a good decision with closing detention. That is my belief.
Let me first preface my concern. I'm a reserve deputy, but I'm also a citizen of Seymour County. Our sheriff's department is way understaffed, really understaffed, and it's not going to get any better. The city just gave their officers a 6.5% increase in salary.
Absolutely.
Our deputies haven't seen any in a while.
I agree.
We're losing them. We're losing them to other agencies.
Yes, we are.
I understand you have 3 positions you're going to try to fill. That's very nice. But we need to look forward. We need to give them some money to stay here. Our deputies work hard. I've been down here. And you don't find them sitting around the sheriff's department talking. Even our sheriff is out doing work that he really shouldn't be doing, but he has nobody else to do it. He should be doing admin. Our undersheriff the same way. You never find them back in their office anymore. They're out doing calls and patrolling. What's the plan for our sheriff's department? Are you going to give them a raise, give them some money? I understand all departments are short, and they're all looking for funds to continue working, and I'm sure they all do an admirable job. But public safety should be #1 now.
Absolutely. And emergency services.
Please look forward to our sheriff's department. Give them a raise, give them funds to work with.
I'm glad you brought that up. Being married to a sheriff, I understand completely how important it is to keep the sheriff safe, make sure they have all the equipment they need, make sure they get paid enough, because it is a very, very stressful job. And I get it. It's 24/7. 24/7. I would love to sit down with Tony and say, Tony, you know what? We've got this money. Here you go. I'd love to do that. But right now, like I said, that sheriff's department is in general fund. So that's why I'm really honing in on to the general fund. I want to give them money. I think we all want to. We all know how important it is, and I think they do need a raise because they are one of the lowest. Already done my research on that, absolutely. But if we don't have it, we need to be careful, because we cannot exceed what we're not bringing in. We just can't. So, am I thinking about it on a daily basis? Yes. And I think we will get there. But right now, let's take little baby steps to make sure that, first of all, our budget gets approved. Okay? So we know that that's what we're going to do, and they can say yes. Secondly, there's a lot of other things that we can put into that, how great the sheriff's department is. It's not just the sheriff's department. Dispatch, they're short-staffed. They don't get paid very much, and they work long. And they're the ones that do answer the call the first minute, of the emergency. So I really I care about so many other different things that come together to make a good department, i.e. for the sheriff. I know he was strapped. I know this county has always been, which is so good to have, to be an advocate for the sheriff's department, and that's a really nice feeling. And I've been lucky to have 2 commissions in different counties. All of them really support the sheriff's office. but we've also got to learn how to, we've got to come up with some solutions. We've got to say, all right, so if you have 12 deputies and you have a 24-hour day, how do we utilize them the best way and safely? So there's a lot of things that we're going to try and figure out. Price, yes. Overtime, yes. Where can I find more money for them? Yes. How can I save money, i.e., find out what they're using that they might not need, and then also budget for things that they might need. So this is where we're at. We've sat down 3 times now, and we've gone through the budget, and it's going to get there. We're going to get there. We just need to be tight. You know, we're lucky. We have the City of Grants Police Station, and we have the Village of Milan. So we have backup. You know, we have the ability. If you think about how many people we have and how many deputies we have a good ratio. Yes. If you look at the, I'll give you a website to look at where I looked, and I would love it.
How
So
about area? We have one of, I think, the third largest county in the state. These
far as
deputies
area.
have to go from here to Fence Lake,
Mhm.
get a call up in
I know.
Depot, go up there. They're being strapped. They really are working awfully hard.
They
and
are.
need help.
they do.
And talking is great, but
I,
some positive steps.
yeah, I absolutely agree. And it, you know, like I said,
The city police officers, that's great when they can work with us
Mhm.
in the city, but they can't work out in the county.
right. And that's what
So
we need to
how
look
does
at.
that help them?
We need to look at how we are working. Are we working in the areas that we need to work in? There's a lot of, I get it. You know, I know for a fact that average mileage on one deputy at Katrin was about 362 miles a day. And they're on their own. So, and that's scary. You know, that's very frightening, and I get it. But we've got to be realistic, and we've got to communicate, and we've got to make some wise decisions. So, thank you, though. I really appreciate you bringing it up. Anytime.
Does it look like our county funding's going to stay pretty stable as
Very.
far as what's coming in?
Absolutely.
Good.
Mhm. Yep. Yes.
So I have some questions regarding the fires for both of you. So I know the 4th of July is coming up. The Village of Milan has banned all fireworks. The county, they did the same, right?
No.
No? So what were the restrictions put on fireworks?
Okay, so what we've done, and that's another reason why we're having a special commission meeting tomorrow, is to move forward with the ordinance. So we can do a ban if we have an ordinance in place saying that we're allowed to, if we feel the safety of our community is at risk. We have to take the steps, though, because an ordinance is a law, and a resolution which we've already passed saying that we are concerned and we want to take action if needed to take the action. So the ordinance is the last big step. So Friday, you know, there's certain times that you have to have it out and published. So Friday, tomorrow, we are putting it on it is on the agenda to approve the ordinance. So we have something that we can actually utilize for our emergency management and commission to understand we're dry, right? And so we have to have that in words, in actually written paper, to be able to make those decisions if need be. That's,
Okay, but there is a plan in place.
oh yeah, we talk about it a lot.
What about the city? Is the city doing anything like that?
Yeah, our fire chief is the one that issues fire permits, and he's really limited those, and he's tried to put out some educational information. I know for myself, since probably February, I've been trying to encourage the council to look at a fireworks ban. A few years back, I remember before I worked for the city that we had a ban statewide. I believe the governor put out the ban. And I just remember that whatever we were going to do, we had to do way in advance of the 4th of July, because you have a lot of vendors who purchase fireworks and stuff, and you don't want to, 2 weeks before 4th of July say, well, we're not going to allow anything, and then they're stuck with their product. So I've been pushing since February. The council has felt like they wanted to hold off, but I know our fire chief has been very concerned dealing with fires on a regular basis. He's very concerned, and so he's been trying to put out some educational information. He hasn't issued as many burn permits to people who want to burn the leaves in their backyard, those kind of things, to try to limit. And we've seen in town, we've had a few little brush fires that, thank goodness, they got under control, but were started probably just by one spark. So it's very concerning.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I noticed an ad in the paper. Are we looking for a new director for the Future Foundation Center?
Yes, and it's not the city. The Future Foundations is managed by the nonprofit Future Foundations. So yes, Sherry Kachursky, I believe her husband is relocated to Texas. So they're going to be moving. So the Family Center Board is looking for a director. The county gave the center to the city about a year ago, and we do own the building, but it's managed by an outside nonprofit.
Is the Big Brothers Big Sisters program still operational?
I don't believe it is. I don't believe they've had that. I've met a couple of times. The Big Brother Sister coordinator from Gallup has come to Grants a couple of times, and she's talked about expanding over here herself, but the Family Center hasn't kept that program going. Yeah, and definitely a very needed program, I believe, for our community. Good program.
I'm sorry to, only question for that one.
Uh-huh.
Who is sponsoring that? Who used to sponsor it?
It used to be the Big Brother Big Sister program out of Albuquerque, but it was sponsored through the Family Center,
Got it.
Future Foundations.
And how long did we have it?
I would say about 3 years. Yeah. And it was an on-site mentoring program. There's a couple of versions, a community-based or I believe it's called on-site, but people came to the center and mentored kids there under the staff supervision. It was that type. But yeah, definitely a good program. The county had the JJAC program for a while, and under that, one of the components that community members brought up was mentoring. And that program talked about, I don't know if it ever got off the ground running, but talked about sending high school, mid-school, high school age kids to a business to shadow. And basically you would be mentored at that person's workplace. And it would be good in just encouraging our youth to finish school, the importance, the importance of work ethic and all those kind of things. And be a little bit easier than the business person trying to leave and go to a site for the student to come to their site and work with them.
Yeah, that's one that I really want to get going, because I've done this before, and those 17 and 18-year-olds, they don't know anything about government and business, and they want to, and they soak up so much information so quickly. To have that mentor and they're actually seeing us work, it's a real eye-opener. And I've had actually two now graduates of college, but I had them when they were 18, and they didn't know what they wanted to do. They thought they were going to be a nurse, but they both went into government management. So it was a nice feeling that, what we showed them and what we do is something that people are interested in. So yeah, that's really good program.
So to gather a little bit feedback, Kate brought up the issue of our empty old county complex. And over the last couple of years, I know we even had a committee at one point. I think the chamber might have been facilitating it, but several groups came together to talk about what could we repurpose the old county complex as. And so there is a ordinance that we can pass to do what's called convention center tax. And the tax would actually be charged at the hotels to visitors coming to our town. They might pay $1 extra for their hotel stay, and it would go into this convention center fund to fund convention center. So I kind of played with little figures, guesstimating how many people probably stay in our hotels, and I anticipate it would generate probably around $80,000 a year. So I didn't know if we wanted the city and the county to partner together and possibly work on that, and then do some joint things where that would fund the operation of the old county complex, and we could put the kitchen back in it, but it could be used for a little mini convention center for, I know before they used to have things like the Association of Counties would come here to meet, or you know, groups that it could facilitate, and then there's still some empty spaces we could make into breakout rooms, but we might be able to house some other groups there that help share in the facility cost, but then it could be used for graduations, weddings, another option for people, because I know some used to use the inn for their wedding receptions and things like that. We don't have that anymore. So it might be able to charge, you know, $800 to have your wedding here, and it generates some funds that way as well. So what's your thoughts on that? Do you think that could be something that would work here? Eric says
How
yeah.
are the prices of the hotels in Grants compared to the hotels in Gallup? Would increasing prices have visitors continue to Gallup to stay rather than here?
I don't know. I don't know that we've ever compared it.
We're lower than Gallup.
Yeah.
Are we?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I know we're lower than Phoenix by a lot. Phoenix, when we went to Phoenix a while back, and gosh, their hotel rooms are like 300 and some a night, and some 400. Of course, that was when the spring training was going on, so they're kind of like places they jack it up when there's things going on that they have more visitors. But that would be good to compare, so we make sure we're not getting it too high. Yes.
The old county building.
Yes.
I think, first of all, I think that's a great idea to utilize it but my understanding is that it needs a lot of work. And I'm sure the equation would include
Oh, yes.
what kind of expenses it would cost, you know, would
Yes.
incur. I think the concept is great.
I think we've been told that quite often, that it has mold, it's structurally unsound, but I believe Tony Boyd brought in a firm to check the structural component, and what I was told, it is structurally sound. And we took a tour. We went down in the basement, and I'm not an expert on mold, but I could see no evidence of mold or evidence that it had flooded down there. It does have a sump pump, but so does the chamber. Many buildings, we have quite a few springs throughout town under buildings, and people have in their home basements, they have sump pumps and things in various locations, but I still feel like there's a lot of use that building could
Well, I would agree with that.
bring.
Oh, absolutely. We'll have to do appraisals and surveys and a lot of that.
Right, Joe?
Okay, so hypothetically, let's say that the county, the city goes into this partnership on the old building, and it goes into the convention center. The other expenses, is it going to be managed? Will you hire somebody to manage that specific area, and will there be any conflict with private industry? Because again, you know, is it really right for government to be taking business away from the other nonprofits? I mean, the Knights rent their hall out. You have the Rodeo Association with them. You're going to be taking money out of their pocket.
Do you think we still need more avenues, though?
Right now, the avenues we have are underutilized.
Do you think? 'Cause
I mean, is it really worth the cost? I mean, it's wonderful. I mean, it's a great idea, but it's my money.
Do you think it would be worth it then if we got together and put an analytical, get someone to actually analyze that part to see if
Well,
it is feasible? Because
yes.
that would be the first step that we
That
would
would be
do.
the biggest thing. And again, it goes back to what you were speaking to earlier. Who's going to manage it? How much are we going to charge them? Because we're going to charge them something.
And,
They can't get it for free.
and how much is it costing?
Yeah, how much is it going to cost, and is anybody really going to want to manage the facility?
Right. Yes.
I'm probably beating a dead horse, but are there any plans from the Economic Council to utilize the golf course in conjunction with motels, hotels, to offer a special for golfers on weekends where they get a reduced rate at the hotel, motel, and also some kind of stipulation here that they get a reduced rate for a whole weekend, so that people from Albuquerque and Gallup, if they find it advertised that they can spend less money here than in Albuquerque, but yet we could use them in the, overall, we'd get some money out of it.
Do you
Are
want
there
to
any
say,
plans?
address that, Kim?
We actually do. If they stay at a hotel or even the RV park, we only charge them the resident fee. Instead of the $40, we only charge them $30. So we do mix with them. We do offer that.
You give them reduced rates of the golf course?
Yes, sir. We do.
And is that well advertised?
I believe Brittany has it up. Our marketing director does have that out there. And we have pamphlets at the hotels that give our price rates.
And our price range is quite a bit lower, I don't know compared to Gallup, but definitely from Albuquerque.
Gallup's still closed
Yeah.
as of right now.
Oh.
So, in Albuquerque, I do get a lot of play because they're full, and during the weekends, they come out.
Can you get the pamphlets into the hotels in Albuquerque?
We
So
could.
that maybe they would decide to come
We can
to
see
the
if I can
weekend
get
instead of
Brittany
staying
to
in
print out some
Albuquerque.
more. But we do.
Barbara?
Two things. One is that starting in May, Gallup has an event almost every single month. Those people come in from out of town and they want to do something besides be in Gallup. Advertising for our events here at the golf course, I believe, is really critical. The second thing I wanted to point out is that we had a city councilman that had a tremendous concept for utilizing the old county complex. I think the buildings that are in question are those other buildings, not the historical building. One where you have the schoolhouse and all of that.
Where the
But
DA's
those other
office was.
buildings that are ancillary buildings on that site. And it was his idea that we put in a museum there, utilizing all of the stuff that the Historical Society could manage and put in there. The second thing is that putting back in that restaurant, the kitchen back would facilitate that as well. But those old buildings, the ones that are a problem, could be torn down and utilized for additional parking. Because when we have big events in town, there's limited parking on 9/11, on Iron, all of those, and that could facilitate some groups like camping groups and
RVers.
RV
Mhm.
groups to come in and have some events here in our community. And it has been proposed by a number of people that we seek those opportunities to bring more people into our downtown area. So there are some options that could be utilized for that facility. And how we go about it, whether we come up with a good plan to utilize it. I know that tearing down those old buildings is expensive, but that original building, I don't know if there's funding from the State Historical Society, because that could be a source of possibly helping to renovate that building.
Mhm. True.
There's so many avenues that we could look at.
Yes.
Going back to the county building, of utilizing it for weddings and graduations, I think it's a very good idea because I have grandchildren that are graduating. My daughter has had to reserve 2 years in advance for each child because they get picked up like that.
That
And
was
it would
my
get utilized
experience
for that.
too, is that they're pretty well booked up, that we could possibly use an extra
And I
place.
think that would be great because that way parents don't have to scramble to, reserve them 2 years in advance. The other thing is, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, Mike Brewers presented some kind of plan for the county building.
Right.
And I don't know what happened to that plan I'm trying to remember what it was all about, but I know like when the sheriff's department was at and where dispatch is at now, I guess those buildings were going to get torn down to use it as parking because part of that building for the assessor and the treasurer and all that was going to be some kind of historical museum.
Right.
And I'm not sure what happened to that plan.
I learn something new every minute.
Right.
I thought that was a great idea because we do have a lot of history in this county.
Right. Part of it was to put the Historic Society in there, and I believe, in the transition of different managers at the county, then once the old library emptied out, they approached me, and so we did allow them. They've been working in there off and on. They're organizing their artifacts and researching museums and things to create a museum. You know, we could try to move them again, but
Or extend it. I mean, because
Right.
we have a lot of history.
right. So the idea was it'd make a perfect place to have a museum, and if you had a little convention, some kind of meeting going on during breaks, people could go into the museum, have a little gift store, that kind of stuff. It would work well together.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned we have a lot of springs. Any chance we have hot springs?
I was thinking that when I heard that last
You
week.
know, somebody said there are, but, and you know, occasionally, you've probably seen at our fountain that's at 5th Street, by the 5th Street Beach, there's steam coming out of it. But that's more, you know, because the air is colder than the water. I don't think it's a hot spring, but, yeah, you wonder. We have a lot of minerals, right? Yes.
In closing, I'd like to say thank you. Laura, you guys are coming up here and speaking to the citizens face to face.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a service, and I wish more people would be here, but
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Well, we appreciate all your good
Yes, we do.
feedback. It's been helpful. Yes.
I do want to mention for the Foley Citizen newspaper, we do have something like this. We want to invite people to every Wednesday morning from 8 to 9 at the Full Street Cafe to get feedback of what you guys want your local paper to do for the community. Because it's your guys' paper. It's not ours. It's yours. So we would like to invite anyone that would like to put in their input of what they would like to see in the local paper. That would be great.
Great, thank you. Yes, Sarah?
At 4th of July, is the chamber in charge of that one, or is it ministry?
The chamber's in charge of the 4th of July stuff downtown. Yes. And then this weekend, of course, is the Seven Trails of Gold event, geocaching.
Geocaching now, which we don't have the out because of the fire restrictions that we have. But we are going to be having a variety of events going on.
Bands, all kinds of activities downtown,
Yes.
Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, starting Friday night, and we have that little car show that's going to be doing the drive a cruise. We'll have the, what do you call that, cornhole contest, kids on the jumpers and stuff like that. We're going to have a few good events.
Then I need to get with you.
I'm curious about that.
Okay.
Your event, you know, and I know they have conflicted opinions as far as what the motorcycle rally is bringing. On where did the motorcycle event basically on this sheet die, and what effect on this sheet does that show the impact of what that brought?
The last year was 2015 of Bike Rally.
So it would reflect about a month or two after that, after July? So it'd be-
No, it actually, this one's the month we earned the gross
Okay.
receipts, so it would be February, well, not February, July.
So you got in June, yeah.
Yeah, it would show up in the month in July. So, you know, where we typically saw that we had the larger gross receipts was around October, November, December, seemed to be, and we attributed that to hunting.
Hunting?
Yeah.
Laura, did we get the whole amount for gross receipts, or some of that for the state?
Some goes to state, so our rate is 8.125, and the state gets 5%, 5 of that, so most of it goes to the state. Yeah.
Manager Fletcher,
Kate, please.
Kate, okay. Kate, so I believe it was in April, Commissioner Garcia, Martha Garcia, she had said that the Council of Governments was going to be coming down to Cibola County and we were going to be hosting them. Is that still going to happen, and where?
It is actually still on. We're working on it to figure out how we can do it correctly. Like I was saying, I think it's COG, we use COG, and we're going to be using COG for a very long time because we have that, we won't be able to have the fiscal agent. So thank you for bringing that up, and we are working together on the dates and times and how we're going to serve them and how we can serve them. And yeah, we're working on it.
Okay. Thank you.
Sounds terrible, but yes. it goes on.
What, did you have a month? I didn't catch. Is there
It's in July.
July? Okay.
Thank you.
Any other? Yep, okay. He's saying we're done. Thank you all
Thank
for
you very
coming.
much.
Appreciate it.
And congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.